we're going to do a little mat mobility sequence. So you're going to come down to the floor, and we're going to start with some toe tucks and untucks. So depending on your current level of flexibility, it might look like this. So totally unweighted, tucking the toes under and then untucking them. If you're kind of in between, you can shift forward and back in each of those positions. And if you're comfortable with it, you can also try doing this here. So if that's comfortable for your knees, you can do a fully loaded kneeling position. And kind of in each of those positions, whichever one they are, let's do a little shift side to side. So just feeling movement through the ankles, through the toes, knees, hips. If your hands are on the mat, you'll feel that through your shoulders and even maybe through your wrists as well. If you have wrist issues, just have your hands further forward and it will be less loading on the wrists. Now what we're going to do is going to be a rock forward and back. So just shifting your weight forward and back. So toes are tucked under. If you feel like you're quite flexible in your wrists, you can bring your hands closer and you'll get a bit of a wrist stretch here. If that's intense for you, walk them further out. You're kind of coming into this kneeling squat position. Nice. And from there, we're going to go into a cat stretch. So you're going to tuck under from your hips, rounding through your whole spine, active through your hands, and then lengthening out from your hips, shoulders and head, and you're not going to sink into it. You're going to be the tallest cat that you can be, and you're going to shift side to side there. You're going to tuck under, round up, nice round shape. We're going to shift side to side here, and then lengthening out and shift side to side there. We're going to come to a tall kneeling position. You're going to bring one foot forward, and we're just going to shift forward and back in that position a little bit. So depending on your flexibility, you can move that front foot forward or back. If you're quite flexible, you can have it relatively close and get a nice stretch through the ankle. And then you're also getting a nice stretch to that back thigh, through the quad, and through the hip flexors. Now what we're going to do is, in that half kneeling position, is you're going to look over your shoulder, the shoulder that's on the open side. So for me, it's my right. I look to my right, and I point my finger the direction that I'm looking. And then I'm going to look back to center. And then I'm going to tell myself, well, I'm going to look further this time. And I look just beyond, and then I line up my arm with that. And now I'm going to look further again. Good. And then you can relax, and you can notice now when you look over that shoulder, by using your eye line, your freedom of movement is much greater right away. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So your other leg is going to come forward, and we're going to shift forward and back. So choosing an angle that feels good for you. You can also support yourself on the floor, or if you have a couch or a chair next to you, you can support yourself however you need to. Very gentle movement here, not getting really aggressive. We're not trying to, get a massive stretch there. Arm is out in front. You're going to check your blind spot, line it up with your arm. And then you're going to think, look further. And you will look further. By layering on our eyes are a very important neurological tool, and flexibility, mobility is primarily neurological function, which I think is super cool. And you can check, oh yeah, all of a sudden I have a lot more freedom of movement through the neck there, so that's fantastic. We're going to come to lying on our backs, and we're going to do a glute and a hamstring stretch. So glutes are going to be first. We're going to cross one leg over the other, and keeping your hips in a slightly untucked position. So tucked would be like that, untucked would be this direction. You're going to pull that shape towards you. You can use your hands to support. So you're resisting the temptation to really round through your low back. Keeping your butt sticking out is what it feels like. You're going to feel a stretch in the glute on that side, keeping that knee wide. And then we'll switch to the others. This is commonly called a figure 4 stretch. So it kind of makes, you know, like a number 4. And if it feels good, you can also add that little side to side that we've been layering into our stretches. Very nice. For your hamstring stretch, you're going to reach one leg up to the ceiling. Your knee is going to be fairly straight, or as straight as comfortable for you. If your leg is over here, that's okay. It's whatever feels like a medium stretch for you. And you're going to reach to the ceiling with your toe and then through your heel. And then you're going to circle that ankle a few times in one direction, a few times in the other. And you're going to turn that whole leg in and out, like you're kind of, you know, something's on fire and you're going to grind it out with your heel. Switch to the other side, finding that medium stretch, whatever that angle is for you. Pointing and flexing, little circle. You may get clicks and pops, that's okay, as long as it's not painful. We're going to do a turn in and out there. And then we're going to come on up to seated. And you're going to have your legs in this sort of 90-90 or side sitting position. And then we're going to switch to the other side. So we're kind of going to do one side, switch to the other. If you have the mobility and comfort to do it, you can kind of keep your feet in one spot and move your body from one side to the other. If not, that's okay. You can step your feet however you need to. If you have the control, you can also do this with no hands, finding an option that's right for you for today. And the last one that we're going to do here on the floor is we're going to do butt walks. So you're going to be sitting up on your sits bones nice and tall, feet are slightly flexed. And we're going to walk with those sit bones. And when you get to the end of your mat, or as far as you feel comfortable, you're going to round, point your toes, and then we're going to scoot back in that same fashion. We'll do one more time, sitting up tall, moving those hips, and then we're going to move back, around as we move back. Nice. And then to make our way back up to standing, you can tuck your toes under, and we're going to find ourselves in a bit of a hamstring stretch, and we're going to reach one arm to the ceiling in this nice little spiral action. If that feels like that's too intense, you can do this one leaning on your thighs rather than reaching for the floor. It's a great option here. Making your way up to standing. You're going to shoot your hips over to one side and then extend that angle with the arm, hips, and then the arm extends it. Last two like that. And last one, and then my favorite feel-good movement, you're going to imagine you're doing a big yawn, and a big diagonal. You can yawn if you want to. I like a nice big inhale. And last one here. You can shake it on out. Great job.